Hello, and welcome back to episode 2 of my Haas driver career mode. Today, we are going to be tackling on the Jeddah Street Circuit for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. One of my favourite tracks on the calendar. It's such high speed, it's such a flowing circuit. I really like it, it really suits my driving style. But yeah, we got some upgrades in the pipeline. That's going to put us in the 6th best car for Saudi Arabia. So we're going to be looking, hopefully, to maybe score our first points of the season. We were on for points in Bahrain, but we had a massive gearbox failure, which took us out of the race. Complete shambles at the end of that race. We were in for the points. I was so close getting points on my debut as a rookie, but for now, as you can see, we still got one or more fitting components has wear, which is our gearbox, which, to be honest, didn't completely fail, but it did go to above 80%. So we can't have that left anymore. So it is now time to get into qualifying for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Lap 1. This is probably on par my best circuit on the F1 game, same as Zandvoort. I can consistently get good qualifying here and consistently get good race pace around here, especially on F1-22. I was really good at those circuits. I hope I'm carried over on to F1-23. Still getting used to the handling model, so maybe a little bit slower than usual, but still an absolute beast around these tracks. But for now, I got to show that to you guys. We run completely wide at the end of Sector 1. But now, coming to the end of the lap, Sergio Perez has the fastest lap time of 1:29.4, and we are going to come across the line for a 1:29.9, which puts us P4. And that is where we are going to be ending off Q1 as we opt to stay in the garage, because I thought I'd risk it, save a set of tyres, and we were P10 at the end of the session. Exactly where we wanted to be. With the 6th fastest car, we should be aiming for 11th and 12th. We got 10th, which is a massive good surprise for us. Now on to Q2, our first lap. We're trying to save yet another set of tyres. This is once again the used set of tyres. This is the tyres that this is the only tyres that we have used in quali so far, meaning that they're going to be pretty worn, but let's see what laps can we save. So we've lost about 5 tenths on the older tyres, and we did hit the wall at the start. We went out for another lap on new soft compound tyres, and we did find, well, to be honest, quite a decent chunk of lap time, 7 tenths, as we were P14 with our first lap. It shows that the other drivers are definitely getting their eye in, and the track conditions are definitely improving, because I'm pretty sure this time would have got us in past the drop zone in Q1, but we do come across the line to set a lap time worthy of P8, as we've got to go on to Q3 for the top 10 shootout. Try and maybe qualify. I'm expecting 8th, 9th, or 10th, but if we can qualify any higher than that, that would be a massive bonus, and it might also mean that I have to turn the A up, because I'm beasting them. But for now, at the start of our final lap in Q3, first lap didn't go too well, got a P10. I'm pretty sure we used a used set again, just to try and, if there's red flags in the race, we saw 2 in the last episode, which means at Saudi Arabia, where crashes are a lot more likely as it is a street track, maybe get more red flags, have a lot of soft tyres ready to use. We are finding more time on this lap with our new soft compound tyres. 2 tenths up as we go around the hairpin. I like to call this the halfway point, so I think it is actually the halfway point of the lap. But for now, 2 tenths up, not our best lap time. I don't think this is going to be our best lap time. I honestly think the best lap time that we're going to set is the one that we set in Q1, where we did only 1 run at the start of the session. We just can't match that at this point, but we are finding a little bit of time through every corner. We would really like to find some points. We find a whopping almost 2.5 tenths through the chicane, and that little bit of the track has changed since last year, so might be a bit different. We find a bit more at the final hairpin to go about 4 tenths up on our previous lap time. Where will that put us? We come across the line to a 1:29.4, our best lap time of qualifying, and that is going to put us in P8 for the race. That was actually a really, in my opinion, that was a really good qualifying for us in the Haas. We were aiming for P11 and P12, which is where our car should technically be, and we've got P8, which is a massive step up. Both Alfa Romeos in Q3, but not able to get any high times, so let's get into the race.
Welcome to one of the fastest races in the entire calendar, and while it's one of the newer races on the F1 World Tour, it's already staked its reputation as a fan favourite. It's Jeddah, and it's the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah street circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And starting next to them is George Russell. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Norris, the engineer, Bottas, Joe, Ocon, Verstappen, Perez, Oscar Piastri, Tsunoda, Gasly, Hulkenberg, Sargent, Stroll, Albon, and Nick de Vries. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Alright guys, so two things to talk about. One, I'm an idiot. It was about 6 in the morning when I filmed this. And I may have gone to save the replay, so no off-board cameras. And two, we have got to talk about the Red Bulls. We've moved up a place from Max Verstappen taking a 10th-place grid penalty for engine components in race 2. But one thing I didn't notice in qualifying was that Sergio Perez got eliminated in Q2. So he lines up in P10, I believe, and Max Verstappen in P11. Or maybe P12 and P11. I'm not sure. I don't really focus on cars behind me. They're too slow. Yeah. If you can't tell, I'm joking. But now we are going to go, as we line up, we're going to go on board for the 5 red lights. The lights are on. We go to 5 red lights, and we go green in Saudi Arabia. We get an amazing start. We get held back by the Aston of Fernando Alonso a bit as he had a slow start. We're going to go side by side with him into turn 1. Wheel banging a little bit there. Can we get the better traction and acceleration down to turn 3? Yes, we can. And we're up into P5 off the start. Now all we've got to do is try and keep up with the Ferrari and the Mercedes ahead. Try and maybe overtake them maybe. We've had a pretty good start. We're from P7 to P5, up 2 positions. As we get completely, we just grind the curves. That's a deadly curve. As Fernando Alonso gets back past, we're back up into P6. Can we use the slipstream? Can we get past him again? No, we can't. He's just a little bit too far ahead. Bottas and Zhou behind us. They're going to be a danger. Both Alfa Romeos probably not going to fight with each other. And they're probably going to put their full focus on moving forward. And that, it really puts me in danger here because Alonso is going to clear off into the distance. He's in a much better car than us. And Bottas and Zhou are right behind us. We got to keep our pedal to the metal. Try and keep up with Fernando. Try not to use a lot of ERS. One of the things we struggled with in Bahrain was that we didn't have much ERS to spare. And we can't even get any ERS upgrades yet because we have to buy some ignition stuff. Not buy stuff. Develop some ignition stuff. But for now, we are closing in on Alonso. We have the slipstream on the Aston Martin. Our Ferrari engine in the back of this Haas. Working like crazy to try and keep us with the Aston. Leclerc's in the lead from, I believe that's the Mercedes of George Russell, and then Lewis Hamilton in third. as both Red Bulls are down the order. Onto lap 3 now. We're still managed to stay in DRS of Fernando Alonso. The Alfa Romeos are a little bit behind, so we have a massive slide out of the exit of turn 2, which drops out DRS of the Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso and allows the Alfa Romeos back in. Bottas is now only 2.5 tenths behind us. Him and Norris are both attacking us. We opt to go a little bit wide here, play the tactical game, because now we're going to have DRS down the main straight to fight back against Valtteri Bottas. We're side by side. He doesn't have DRS, we do. Norris has DRS as well. Will he attack Bottas? But right now we're safe for a minute. They dive down the inside, make it 3 wide into turn 1. We take a lot of curve there to try and stay ahead, but it's not successful. And Perez and Bottas and now ahead of us. Easy moves for Perez in the Red Bull, but Bottas was someone who we did not want past us on lap 4. We're going to try and get him back. Hopefully he doesn't clear off into the distance. We hit that curve again. We completely slide again. We've got to really avoid that curve. It's completely thrown us off at this point. You can see we go wide again, but now to lap 5. We are right on the tail of Valtteri Bottas. We can see every detail of the Alfa Romeo front wing. Will we be able to get him on this lap, or will it have to be onto the start of lap 6? It's going to be onto the start of lap 6. DRS, slipstream. Can we shoot past the Alfa Romeo? Yes, we can. This is definitely probably going to be a DRS battle with Valtteri Bottas. Whoever stays ahead. We're in P7. We want to stay in this position, get our first points of the season, get big points for Haas. We're probably trying to aim, I don't know, points finishes in most races with the car that we've got. Maybe try it, well, a few times maybe score some big results, similar to what like Kevin Magnussen did at the start of 2022. But now on to lap 6, the end of lap 6. Bottas is coming back at us with the DRS as he steps ahead of us. We're going to have DRS on the main straight though, or are we, as we dive up the inside of Bottas. We are now up into the lead of this pack here. Perez has cleared off into the distance because of us fighting, but we're now in the lead. Is this really where we want to be? The cars behind have DRS. Norris is coming at us in the McLaren. We're going to be side by side into the final corner. We let him go a bit more than we did Bottas. We squeeze up the inside, almost get squeezed into the wall by Norris, but he gives us room. We're now going to have DRS on the straight. We're going to have slipstream. We're not going to use any ERS. We have 69% battery. We get past the McLaren. And, or do we? He comes back at us on the brakes. He's a little bit ahead of us into the corner. We have a little bit of contact with him. That's going to throw him off. It throws us off a bit. But we have the better drive into turn 3 as we are back ahead of Lando Norris by lap 8. Now, we have got to stay ahead here, because at this point, we are indefinitely probably the worst position to be in this train. We are at the head of it. We have managed to keep quite a lot of our ERS. We can make a complete mistake over the curve. Norris comes back at us. We're going to be side by side into the halfway hairpin. Around the inside, Norris goes. We try to go around the outside, get better drive off the corner, but it's not successful. We are now going to get DRS for the next few straights. We can see we back off of there, completely lifting up, but we completely misjudge it on the brakes. Go a bit wider. Norris is going to clear off into the distance. We are going to have DRS to try and bring ourselves back closer to Lando Norris, as that is going to lead us back onto the main straight. We have the absolute overspeed over Norris, breaking into turn 1. We are ahead by the apex, and we are once again leading this train, as all the infighting between us in this little group here. The other cars ahead have completely stormed off. We are most definitely fighting for P7, 8, 9 and 10 in this group here. The Alfa Romeos have dropped off the back of it from mine and Norris's fight by the start of lap 11. Norris gets back ahead. We let him pass now, so we've got to kind of work together now that we have the gap behind to the Alfa Romeos. Try and stay with Norris, as our tyres are starting to go now. But once again, if we can just stay with Norris and fight for this P7, that'll be amazing points for our second race in Formula 1 in our driver career mode. As for now, Norris is pulling a little bit away. We went for a little bit more straight line speed, but not as much as I really would have liked. As you can see, at the end of lap 12 now, Norris has really pulled away from us. but we are closing with the DRS. We stayed in DRS range. We keep going wide out of this corner. We almost completely collect ourselves into the wall. We are boxing this lap. We don't activate the DRS. We are now coming in for the hard compound of tyres to get us to the end of this race. 12 laps on the hards. Less time than we spent on the medium tyres, which just shows how durable the tyres are as we get held up by Norris coming out of the pits. Now we want to try and stay on the back of Esteban Ocon sets the fastest lap. He's coming along the main straight now. He might get in the middle of myself and Lando Norris. We completely cross the pit lane exit there, but we don't get a warning. Don't know why. Our teammate is in P9, but I don't think he has boxed yet. Hopefully he doesn't hold us up through the next few corners here. As Lando Norris there, you can see storming off into the distance. He's completely on top of these hard compound tyres. We're not quite yet. As you can see, we grind the curve. Again, we're here around both of the massive 3D curves there. Hopefully the Hulk ahead of us lets us through quite easily. We're clearly the faster car. So we had a complete pit stop and we're still in the same place as him. We've got to try and pass him in the next bit of DRS. Maybe try and drag him along for a bit, but I'm 100% sure that he's going to box at the end of this lap. We got SD Bestie right behind us. We're going to have to fight him for a couple of pit points and a couple of places maybe. He's on medium tyres. His tyres will probably go off towards the end. Our tyres will probably hold on a little bit longer. But as you can see, we went 13 laps on mediums at the start of this race. Lower fuel. Esteban Ocon is definitely going to be able to get those tyres to the end. Hulk covers us off. He covers off the inside. We're going to go round the outside of our teammate. A little bit more fighting than what ideally would have happened, as we lose almost about 2 seconds to Lando Norris. How much are we going to lose to the Alfa Romeo of Guan Yu Zhou from fighting with our teammate as he goes into the pits? Our teammate in the pits, Ocon right behind us, Piastri behind Ocon there, and Zhou has fallen back a little bit. He's been undercut by the McLaren of Piastri, and all of us has really fallen into the clutches of the very early undercutting Ocon in the Alpine. As Norris is now cleared off into this, we make a mistake. That's going to allow Esteban Ocon the run into the halfway hairpin. He's on mediums. He's going to have better grip at this point in time. We let him go just so that we can get DRS on the back two straights, in the back two DRS zones, and maybe even in the final DRS zone that starts the lap if we are not ahead of him by then. We don't have much ERS to play with at this point, as our battery harvesting is really, really bad. Like in the heavy braking zones, we're literally only making like 1% or 2. We definitely need to get ERS upgrades. We definitely need to get weight reduction. Those are the two areas that I really want to focus on in the next few races. But that's the next few races. We completely go across the curve. We've got to focus on the here and now of using the DRS to get past Esteban Ocon. We got DRS. We have got the slipstream. We are past Esteban Ocon. Once again, we're going to play the tactical card. We run a little bit wide. Let Esteban Ocon back ahead. Not as good as the move we made on Bottas before, but we are going to get DRS again to solidify our move into P8 from SD Bestie as we survive another lap from the Frenchman in that bright blue Alpine. As we now just got to focus on staying ahead. As we're now onto the lap 17. Carlos Sainz is in the pits. He's going onto the soft compound tyres. He has the fastest lap, and he's going to come out the pits right behind us. He is going to be a danger to us in this race. We're up into P7, but Sainz is definitely going to be coming for us on those new soft tyres. Fastest lap for the Ferrari. I doubt he's going to lose that since he's boxed onto softs. Most likely he's going to be improving that a lot, as we now have a little bit of a blockage between me and him with Esteban Ocon in the middle. But I can't say SD Bestie is going to be much of a roadblock for the Ferrari. It's on to lap 18. He has fallen behind the Ferrari. We've got him right on our tail. Sainz has DRS. We don't. We have barely any ERS energy to deploy. And we're going to be side by side through the chicane. We brake early. Let him go ahead. See if we can get the better run to the final hairpin of the lap. ERS deployed. DRS deployed as well. Slipstream. Can we get back ahead of Carlos Sainz? Really not wanting to fight much with the Spaniard, but we got to fight for position. We try and do the little go wide on the hairpin move again, but he gets the better run I really shouldn't be trying that with the soft compound tyres on sites and our hard compound tyres, which would definitely have a pretty big speed delta. But what else has a speed delta? The DRS. We get past Carlos Sainz into turn 1, and we are back into P7 fighting with the Spaniard. We are catching up to Lando Norris a bit, but I think that's because we got the DRS from Sainz. Norris doesn't have DRS. You can see through the corners he's definitely pulling ahead, and we have Carlos Sainz right on our tail. He's trying to pressure us into a mistake. We're trying to keep our cool. We massively avoid the curve there. Maybe a little bit too slow through the mid-sector, and that's going to allow Carlos Sainz to run into the halfway hairpin. As we brake early there, a little bit early. Try and let him pass. As once again, we're trying to do the same moves we did with Esteban Ocon when Ocon was on better tyres. But now by lap 23, he just pulled away from us. We're kind of catching up to Norris. He's only 2.8 seconds ahead. That's because I think he battled with Sainz for a bit. And on lap 23, we are P8. We got 4 seconds to Ocon behind. We got 2.5 seconds to Lando Norris ahead. Sainz has completely cleared off into the distance as we thought he would. And that is how the order is going to stay till Charles Leclerc wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, the first non-Red Bull win of the season, but judging by his only second race, not much to go by. Both Red Bulls had a pretty bad starting position. Only Perez really has managed to make it up. I haven't seen Verstappen in ages. I don't know if he got past or maybe got wing damage fighting through the fray, but I never saw him in the race. But we get P8, our first points in Formula 1 with a P8, 4 points for Haas. Sergio Perez, driver of the day. And guys, take it in, because that's the last time you'll be seeing that helmet in driver career mode. Before I just point it out, I have changed it now. But yeah, congratulations to Ferrari for their first win of the season. Charles Leclerc's first win of the season. Can he challenge for the title? I'm not sure. Red Bull seem to be dominant when they don't have engine penalties or just a bad qualifying in the race. But Ferrari podium, I believe it was I think it was a Mercedes double podium. I know Lewis was on the podium. I'm not sure about George. I don't know where he was. Leclerc's your race winner. Is it just me, or does his head look really small? I think it's just me. Yeah, and that's a double Mercedes podium in Saudi Arabia. I believe that's their first podium of the season. And yeah, we could have a pretty decent constructors fight on our hands if Red Bull keep having a torrid qualifying with Perez and a pretty harmful engine penalty with Verstappen. I think definitely dropped him down the order a lot. As now, I really don't know what to say. I'm just going to wait for the timing thing. No one's here by now, are they? Okay guys, so in the see, Carlos Sainz didn't manage to get P6. Sergio Perez from P12 got P4. Max Verstappen from 11th went down to 14th. He only did a 1 stop, which means he didn't have to change his wing. He just didn't have the pace. Our fastest lap was 5 tenths quicker than him. He must have just got stuck in the traffic. Oscar Piastri also picks up his first points in Formula 1. As guys, I hope you have enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time for the Australian Grand Prix. Like and subscribe. Let's get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.